look, the International Space Station is a really great place to do research, but if we wanted to make this economically viable, we wanted to make this process as simple as possible. And one of the ways that you can make a process really simple is by removing humans from the loop, right? You don't have to put on life support systems. You don't have to bring up a human being and keep them living. You can just do the single unit process, that very rather simplistic piece of pharmaceutical formulation work that's difficult, but frankly, it's mixing some things together, heating things up, cooling down. You don't need a human in the loop. And so in service of our goal over on the pharma side, we made the architecture that we made today, which is a free-flying, so unassociated with the International Space Station, really any other space station up there, and these capsules. And so we saw ourselves in the early days as making that entire vehicle for the orbital manufacturing supply chain, research industry, however we want to call it. Now, at the same time, you start to look at that and you say, well, in very short term, Varda's going to have more reentry vehicle happenings and a cheaper capsule by virtue of us wanting to make it as cheap as possible for the pharmaceutical and orbital manufacturing world than anybody else on the planet. And so it was some very early days where it struck us, and frankly, we had a nice customer demand from folks in and around the reentry community, and that's everyone from the folks at NASA Ames that work on heat shields for extraplanetary missions. There was just a paper that came out that some of our research on the first mission was utilized to down select a reentry heat shield for a Uranus mission that's coming up by the end of the decade. At the same time, other folks that work on reentry systems in and around the DoD, and so certainly, as we have a cheap capsule that's flying very frequently, we're using it for our own internal purposes. But if other folks can find utility in that, we are a commercial business. We're not going to say no to that work.